Someday, but it's Sunday. Tune in and see vibrations rising with the frequency. Hosted by the voices that set us free. B. Carter D, Charlie P, Ed, and Ray, we agree. Politics and conflicts, let them fade. In conversations where love's laid. Join the frequency, hearts displayed, leading us all through this parade. Debates and discourse under the spotlight. Vibrational experiences shining bright. With a melody that takes us to new heights.
Yeah. We're back. We are back. You're listening to the Frequency Live on WMB1 Radio. I'm your host, B. Carter.
Director Morris.
Charlie P, what's up?
What's going on, guys? Another show.
What's happening?
Another week.
Hey, man, it was good, just you and I last week, right?
Oh, yeah, it was. I don't know why this guy's even
Derek,
here.
right?
Yo.
You guys are missing a piece last week. That's all I can say, okay? It's like listening to CNN, okay?
Yo, we were having some serious conversations, Charlie.
Yeah.
We're really getting into it. And I think we're gonna even prolong, extend some of the conversations that you and I had.
Oh, you guys did good. It was a good show last week.
Man, you got you sure you don't have two residencies, Derek?
Why?
I don't know. You're back and forth.
You're in Florida a lot, yo.
No,
You love that Republican state.
But you part of those? Was you part of? Did you vote twice?
Yo, I think he did, yo. That's how he won.
Twice.
We got it, Charlie. That's how he won.
I mean,
That's how he won. Yo, he's back and forth. He was like, listen, I'm cheating.
it was nice to see my parents, you know?
Yeah, that's good.
80 degrees during the day, see my parents for 3 days. I was with my son. You know what? It was a good weekend.
Good.
You know?
Good.
So we're another week of the Frequency Live on WMB1 Radio. I'm here with Charlie Perry and Double D, Derek Demers, and I am B. Carter, and we have a lot of topics. Listen, I really want to get this off my chest before we even get started, yo. Like, there's a lot of things going on in the world today, right? And a lot of people they say, I don't want to get into it, or they always say, I don't want to argue. Like, let me ask you this question. This is my perception of everything, is the fact that arguing is healthy, in my opinion. Not fighting, but arguing. And the reason why I say that is because of this. Imagine if Martin Luther King didn't want to argue. Imagine if John F. Kennedy didn't want to argue, or Malcolm X, all those people that changed the world, if they felt like, I don't want to argue.
Yeah.
And that's where change never happens. That's where things doesn't evolve into a better place if you don't argue. So in a healthy manner, arguing is healthy. Fighting is not. Calling names, you know what I'm saying? So when you have arguments about different political genders, the political perspectives, and they say, oh, yeah, that's a clown. That's fighting. You know, that's fighting. That means that you don't have a comeback of your perspective. You can't argue or debate, because debate is a form of arguing. So, like, I like to debate because that's where I learn. Because I view debating through conversation. Even in relationships, I don't mind arguing, because through arguing, I'm going to learn what upsets you, what you like and don't like. I'm going to see the emotions, and I understand in the future how to treat you. If we never have this conversation, aka argument, how of our relationship is going to get better? That's in a relationship. So don't you think in life in general, if it's political, if it's in a workplace or anything, for it to get better if you don't argue? Like, what do you think?
Yeah, I think we need to do a better job in society, like you and I do.
Yeah.
We disagree all the time.
Yeah.
Right? We go out to dinner, we chit chat. You want to call it arguing, I call it having a healthy conversation. That's what we do.
Yeah.
And I think we need to do that more in society.
Yeah.
Because, like I said before, your perspective, child's perspective might be different than mine.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think it's good to, have these conversations when it comes to, race, immigration, politics,
Mm-hmm.
business, what have you, and just get it out in the open.
Yeah, and that's how I look at it. I feel like I'm learning through the conversations, through people. Like, I want different perspectives, and how am I supposed to get a different perspectives if I don't talk to people?
Right.
Oh, I don't want to argue with them. I don't want to argue. Yo, get your emotions out of it. Let's have a logical discussion. It's not a personal attack. It's a logical discussion to understand a different perspective, if it's right or wrong. Because at the end of the day, we might both be right. We might be wrong.
In certain cases, I'm sure we are.
Yeah. So it's like we're all trying to get to the same place. Maybe we're just coming from different highways.
Right.
So how do we get on the same lane if we don't talk to each other? So that little like, I don't like I really hate that when people say, I don't like to argue. I'm not gonna. That means you're telling me you don't want to communicate,
Right.
and that's why society, and that's how society's messed up, and that's how the highest that be control us. They don't want us to talk to each other. They want to separate us. So I don't know. Like I believe in communication, conversation, and healthy argument, not fighting where we're calling each other names. If you have a logical point of view, speak it. So I just want to start the show off.
So we ready to argue?
Yo, I'm on my soul. Yeah, we're ready to argue. and this is what I want to, like, as we start the show, I really want to encourage people to call in.
Yes.
We haven't been doing that a lot lately, and I think that we should, because a lot of people have their own perspectives, like we just talked about, and we want your voice to be heard. I want to argue with you.
They can text in too. They can
text in
Facebook.
Yeah, we're gonna do a lot of things. Like, hold on, like this caption right here is killing me, because that's not even one of the where's the Frequency Live. I want the Frequency Live caption. Hold on right now. Yeah. Where is it? Do you see it? Dun. Hold on, guys. Hold on. I got the wrong caption up on the Facebook Live. Did you must have erased it?
No.
You're still there? Okay. Deal with it. Yeah. We have a lot of topics today that we're going to speak on. So, number one, download the WMB1 radio app. Because if you're watching this on Facebook Live, which we've seen, I don't know how many listeners you have on your Facebook Live, but I think it's a combination through all our Facebooks is close to like 2,000 to 3,000.
Yeah, we have a lot. There's
It's coming. It's growing.
Yeah, download the app because you can listen to it in the car.
Yeah,
to it.
Yes, so download the app, and plus, you can listen to our show. There's all other shows that's on WMB1 radio, and there's great music that's playing. Listen to magazine, everything is just go on WMB1.com, and it'll show you all the shows that's available on WMB1 and their schedule. And I got a shout out to the Record Wall. Like, that is a great idea. The Record Wall is a place in the WMB1 radio station studio where we invite local artists. It's almost like a tiny desk where they perform live in front of a camera in the Record Wall, and it's a room full of records. And that's in your background. That is a great way to do it. So there's so many things that's happening in WMB1 radio. So download the WMB1 radio app on your iPhone or Android, and you can listen to us wherever you're at. And what's the number? I can't. What's the number?
774-425-2631.
We have it here. We're gonna be putting it up on the screen.
425-2631. We have it in there. I'll put it on the screen.
We'll put it up. But we have a great show today.
I'm ready to get started. Let's go.
Let's go. Yeah, y'all amped up.
No, I mean, let's go.
Yeah. You want to talk about things. So there's a lot of things we want to talk about. Trump trying to abolish the Department of Education, the Trump administration. I'm gonna put it in the administration, not just on one individual. Trump administration trying to abolish the Department of Education, and I want to ask it also. There's a lot of things that's been implemented, and I feel like is the Trump administration try to abolish anything of black contribution in American history. That's a good conversation. Also, we're going to have a conversation about workplace emotions,
That's a good one.
like
That's a good
where you're going through emotions as far as who you work with, if it's at a radio station, is at your regular job, because people have emotions and that can conflict in your work environment. And we're going to reference to what's going on to another radio show, the Breakfast Club, what they're recently going through. And what else we got there's something else that I what else?
Well, we're going to talk about the mass auditor finding millions of dollars in waste.
Oh yes, the mass
Speak on that
auditor
for a second.
Yep. And there's also something else. There was a relationship question. I forgot.
Well, when we
I
get
can
there.
look at the whole docket. We got a bunch of things that's going on. So we're gonna hold on one second. Excuse me, child. How do I get to? We're gonna get in right into Double D's. Let's start it with Double D. The news with Double D.
All right, so let's just start with the mass auditor finding $2 million in waste, over $2 million in waste just in the first quarter of 2025.
Okay.
And most of it had to do with SNAP and Medicare.
Mm.
So I know this is the mass auditor. I know we talk a lot about like Doge and Trump and his administration going. I don't know that this is a bad thing. We're trying to find waste. Why, what's the complaint about it? So let me just say this. Let me just say this.
Yeah,
too,
go
okay.
ahead.
To me, when you're going through like a massive overhaul, like say Doge, for instance, right, and in a smaller scale like the state of Mass, when they try to cut out waste, I'm sure they're gonna cut out things that are not meant to be cut, and hopefully they can change that. But there's gonna be some mistakes when you're trying to do something on a large scale.
True. I put something in the comment section, some stats based on your story, and it gives some numbers. There it is.
Mm-hmm.
So with an understanding of all this, the amount of $2 million, what's going to happen is what the state would do is the auditor would give that to the investigative unit. I think it's called BSI. And what they do is now they pursue based on what the figures that she came up with, and they pursue it. And then they decide what's going to happen. And citizens will probably they'll give you two options to settle it, pay it back, or if you don't pay it back or you deny it, then they criminally go after you. So they end up giving the state, federal, state, in municipalities, what they do is they always give you that option, and they come up with fraud. They say, look, Derek, you've been stealing from staff. I don't mean to use your name, but
That's okay.
And we found out, we did an investigation based on this. You got excess of $2,500 over this year or this quarter, and now they give you an option to make do of it, and you say, well, you got me. Hey, I'm going to pay you the $2,500. That goes away. Now, if you deny it, what they do is, all right, we got to present our case to the court, and then they end up charging you. So most people don't want a case, so they're going to end up settling and do something, behind the scene, to make it happen. But based on what you told us earlier, what you were going to talk about, I came up with those stats. It was from a Boston news station. They got those figures, and so it's in the comments.
I mean, that's what I got. That's obviously I get my shit from the internet too, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think it's a bad thing that we're going after waste in not just in our country, but in the state of Massachusetts too.
Yeah, and she stated once you brought it to our attention, I started looking into it, and the state auditor was saying that this hurts the community in general. You know, it hurts us all. You know, when frauds like this, because that money could be going to someone else.
Yep.
You know, it
Or
could be
could be
going to the
saving
Department
money,
of
period.
Education.
Yeah, yeah,
Right.
exactly.
It could be going there. You know.
Hmm. Yeah, it's especially we live in a state where we're highly taxed, and like I think a lot of people don't mind being taxed if the service is being implemented in the correct way.
I can completely agree with you.
So it's there. But again, this is what I always say in every show: human beings are flawed. We are flawed individuals, and this is why we need rules. This is why we need things to keep us from fraud in the system for our own advantage. And if you're gonna depend on a human being, not just I'm not pointing out any individual, but a human being in general, to make the right moral decision, I think that if we look at society today, we can't depend on that anymore. So
Checks and balances, right?
so we need it, like Biggie said a long time ago, we need lawyers watching lawyers so we won't go broke. And it's not the fact that we don't want to trust a person. We can't, because we as human beings are flawed. We're flawed individuals, and you have to go through life expecting that, not wanting that, not judging a person by that. But we as human beings are definitely flawed, and the flaws will cause fraudulent things like this.
So you're okay with the audit, like going after money like this?
Yes.
Because people.
Yes, like if y'all going through it strategically, like I don't like. We'll get into it with the way Elon Musk doing it. I don't like how he's doing it. But if y'all going through the whole process and you're fighting for, and then y'all reprimanding things like that, yes,
Yeah. So
100%.
that's the thing too. Is like they found some fraud in like Medicaid. Like
Mhm.
they're not stripping Medicaid, and they're finding fraud in it. Because you see posts or people put these things out there like Trump's getting rid of like Medicare and it's like he's not, but they're finding fraud.
No, but he is.
But they're finding that's the fraud they're now. Like I said, listen, like I said at the beginning of the show, when you're doing a massive overhaul of trying to like find this fraudulent stuff, right? You're gonna end up by accident and hoping like you're gonna cutting something off by mistake.
No,
there's gonna be
no, because see, and this is where we need the people to teach history. Bill Clinton did the same thing.
There wasn't a problem back then?
No, because he did it differently. He did it. He strategically did it. He didn't just cut departments, this and that. He went into it and took his time and found it, and eliminated it piece by piece by piece. It was a marathon versus a sprint, and that's why at his end of his administration, after he was done doing what he's doing, America was in a surplus. They're just cutting everything and not realizing. You could say, all right, I'm not cutting Medicare, but you're going to cut the committee that handle Medicare. You're cutting Medicare because you handle the people that handling it. So it's like you're not strategically doing it. And I understand his strategy. He's handling it like a business. And you can't handle like a business, because at the end of the day, we are a country that we're not paying taxes for a profit. We're paying taxes to get a certain type of service in return, and you're cutting services. You're not cutting fraudulent, so you're wasting money. You're cutting services. You know what I'm saying? Like I understand.
I feel like some of those services are not needed, or some of the people at the top, making $200,000 a year, $250,000 are not needed.
But he's not cutting those positions,
and that doesn't affect the services.
But it does. Because you're right. You're right what you're saying, but he's not cutting those people at the top. It's the people at the top that's controlling this. Is literally are the ones that probably the fraudulent stuff. It's not the people that's actually doing the work, and you're cutting the people that's actually doing the work.
Well, I think so. Okay, but I think, do we need those people that doing the work? Are they doing the work?
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Are they needed? Because you want to talk about like the Department of Education.
Yeah.
And listen, I'm not an educator. I'm not in education.
Yeah.
But I think there's so much fat in the federal government, people making money, that it might not be needed. That's why he's trying to bring it back to the states.
So let me ask you, Derek. Let me ask you this: what is the we're getting to a level where reading, people are not even reading at that grade level, at that age level. What do you think why is that?
I don't know, but
Why is that? Why? Let me ask this. Why do you think is that?
Because our education system's not where it
No,
should be.
it's hunger. And that's what he's not getting. It's hunger. These kids, they're coming from homes where they can't freaking eat.
Listen,
It's like seriously. It's not. You want to buy like simple thing is like these kids are hungry and they want to go to school and they're hungry and you want them to pay attention in class. It's hunger.
I don't know that we're gonna blame, the 8th graders that don't read at an 8th grade level because they're hungry.
Yes,
I'm sure that
yeah.
I don't buy that.
That's the problem.
But do kids listen?
That's the
that's
problem.
my opinion. Do kids come to school hungry? Yes. Like I volunteer for the United Way. We supply kids food, like so when they go on vacation, they can bring a sack home.
Well, he cut that shit.
But listen, what I'm saying is, so I understand that there's a need for that, but I don't think that makes across the board our education system like sucks the way it does.
It don't.
No.
So why is it you're gonna go into case in point, IU Parker School? It got taken over by the state. All right. Is it bad education, or is it the homes that they're coming from?
Okay, so why don't we start there then?
That's my point.
Yeah, but why you're blaming like the school system or the
no, y'all
the Department of
no.
Education?
Trump is blaming the.
Why don't we
system.
go after the? Why don't we go after the parents and say, yo,
yes,
why is this like this?
Yes, you're making my point. So why eliminate the education department like they're the problem? There's a problem in the home. Like if you go to a good school, right? You go to a cushioned school. These kids are doing well. Look at the homes they're coming from. Look at the environments they're coming from. Why is it all the bad schools are in the ghetto? Because look at the homes they're coming from. Look what they're dealing with. And these kids are dealing with a lot of trauma stuff issues, and you want them to come to school and learn. But you want to cut their education and any resources that give these kids any chances.
No, so like again, like I'm going to be in disagreement with you because
Okay.
I don't think that he wants to cut funding to these schools.
But he is.
I think he wants to take the funding or take the Department of Education and put it into the state's control.
All right, so we'll go with that. Know who's going to be hurt the most? Republican states, because most of these Republican states don't pay state taxes.
Most, I don't know about most, but
most,
I don't know.
Most, go look, most, and most public states are low income. Look at them. Those states, Massachusetts will be okay. We'll be good because we pay enough taxes to fund, and we got a lot going on as businesses and everything like that will fund, will help our educational system. But when you go into these Republican states, when you go into a place like Louisiana, what's in Louisiana? You know what I'm saying? When you go into Alabama, when you're cutting from Alabama, and most of their money comes from the University of Alabama, and they don't pay state taxes, they're the ones that are gonna miss out on having those federally funded programs to help these kids to get a better education. You got to strategically do it. Like there is fraud that they need to be cut, but you got to strategically do it. You can't just like, I'm going to cut it like it's a business, then revamp it. No, you can't do that. You can't run a country like it's a business.
I mean, I don't know about that, but I don't have a problem. So I don't have a problem. And I'll take your kids coming to school hungry.
Yeah.
It's a combination of what both of you said.
Yeah, I'll think about that. But I do feel like, where we are in the education system, where our 5th graders can't read at the level, 8th graders can't read a level. So, I'm tired of like, the greatest country on earth and all that, which maybe we are, but our education system says otherwise. So if we need to switch something up, I'm fine with getting rid of the Department of Education and putting it to the states to see what they need to do in their particular states.
So like I think that our education system is great. Is that our mindset as Americans? You got other people come from other countries benefit from our education. They're getting their education, taking that education here and going to their other country, making their countries better. So shame on us. And this is my thing. We as Americans, we're talking about we're such great as a country. At least these people from other countries are smart enough to take advantage of the opportunities that are here. We Americans, it's us. We're the freaking problem. Even with the economy, it's to a point where look what we freaking spend our money on. You got people spending freaking hundreds of dollars to spend on a a hoodie that just says essential on it. It's not special. It just says essential. And you're paying $100 because you want to think that you have money. That's America. It's us.
Well, I just bought this sweatshirt.
Yeah.
This awesome.
That's different.
New Bedford tee.
Shout out. How much you pay for that?
To Mikey Montero.
That's you're right.
Right.
That's logo. You ain't paying $200-300.
No.
And honestly, that's more of a better design than what it says in essential. You just put the word essential on it and put it's $200, and they're buying it.
Yeah.
We are buying it.
And
like, really think about that.
And it's made in another country.
It's made in another country. It's us. It's us. It's really us. Even with the drugs coming over, like I said this last week, drugs coming over the border. It's about supply and demand. There is no demand. They're not getting supplied. Now, that's not the end all be all that's going to make the solution. How about America start doing fucking drugs? Start there.
I mean, listen. I kind of chuckled when I heard you guys talk about this last week because, let's just stop doing drugs. Let's not stop the no. You have
to stop it.
Okay, great.
But don't you think it's easier when it's not much? They're doing everything and anything to get it over the border because the demand is so high.
Yeah, but the thing is, dude, listen, we're always gonna do drugs.
No. See, you can't. You got the same energy that you put on the border. You cannot say we're always going to do drugs.
No,
let's say, well, they're always going to come over the border.
No, hold on. No, because you can stop people from coming to the border by closing the border. As far as I'm saying, like people always can do drugs. Like you say a million times, we're flawed. Humans are flawed.
Mm-hmm.
People are always going to have their vices. They're going to drink. They're going to do drugs. So people are always going to do drugs. I mean, I'm hoping not.
And what do I say when people are flawed? We need lawyers watching lawyers so we don't go broke.
Listen, I hope no one ever does drugs again. But I think reality, people are still going to have that fiend to do a drug. They're going to try something, So if we keep it out of the country.
So why should we blame other people outside our country? It's supply and demand. Now, we should hold them accountable, but we should also hold ourselves accountable. Same thing when you have immigrants coming into our country to work. Guess what? If there is no jobs for them to work, it slowed down them coming over this country. But for some reason, people are hiring them. Why are they hiring them? Because it's cheaper labor. It's another form of slavery, which this country was built on already. Like, listen, the same person that voted for Trump, those corporations are the same people are hiring these cheap labor people. Go to the fish houses. You can see them walking down 5 o'clock in the afternoon. All of them are walking down that one street.
So we
talk from those fishing corporations to freaking get cheaper labor so they can make money.
So do you want to talk about my next topic right now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Because well, my next topic I picked two of them is in New Bedford. Oh, Jala. Hey, Jala, what's up, buddy? Thanks for watching the show.
He wrote a lot, my guy.
So Jala, you remember he called in?
Yeah.
He's school teacher.
Yeah.
If it's okay me saying that.
No, yeah.
He called in one time.
Yeah.
Anyway, so my next topic I wanted to talk about was ICE coming through New Bedford. Okay.
Yeah.
And I think I'm all about like closing the border, and I think most of America is with all the shit that happened in the last few years. But like ICE is going after just people that illegal citizens, right?
No, we gotta change that. I don't mean to cut you off, but we're saying illegal citizens. And I think it's focused on it's just focused on the south of the border countries, and it's not going east or west, and meaning that it's not going to European countries.
Nope.
Not going to
Russia,
Asian countries.
Nope.
It's just basically the south of the border, and that's all they're concentrating on, and that's where I have a problem with it. But I'm sorry.
Using the term illegal citizens?
Yeah, I think it needs to be just what it is.
Call it what it is.
It's
illegal,
illegal black and brown people.
Yeah,
because there's no touching of any kind of European or Asian.
Are they here illegally though? I mean, I'm asking. I don't know. I'm asking.
The Senate. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't want to. Let's just say if it's going to be illegal, illegal immigrants, and we got to do it all across the board.
Yeah.
And this country is not doing it. And yeah, it is the first quarter of the
Administration.
administration. I get it, but that needs to improve. We're talking about improvements. That needs to improve where it's done all across the board.
It can't be just black and brown
So
illegal immigrants. There's no way. This world is too big for it to be just them.
Yeah.
It can't be.
so listen, I mean, you're educating me right now because I mean,
Yeah.
the illegal people that come in, I'm not saying they're all black and brown, but I didn't know that they were coming from Russia or whatever. And if they come from Russia, how do they get here without a passport if they're not coming across the border?
Through the same
Through
place
boats,
they're coming from.
shipping, anything. It just fake IDs, fake passports.
So I'm all about, like, if they're illegal, they should go back too. If that's what Trump,
But that's not
what
being
Trump is doing.
targeted. Even if you're like they were saying, even if you're an immigrant here legally, but you're causing you're causing a crime, you're a criminal.
Yeah.
You're getting deported. Okay, I'm with you on that, 100%. But I know that Russian mafia, I know Irish mafia, Portuguese mafia, there's all kind of mafias that's developed in this country. You ain't touching them, no.
So you're saying they're here illegally?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, in this city, guess what? Any nationality that you end up naming, there's a lot of illegal immigration
Yeah.
coming into this city, just this city, this small little city. So there's abundance of it all the way across the board from each continent I talked about, from Africa to Europe to Asia to the Americas, it's North America, South America. And we have representation in this city from every single one of those continents. But it's just not it's not done fairly across the board. And Derek's always saying about give them time. I'm giving them time on this but I could see the difference right now. I wish I had the stats in front of me, but
Mr. Larnay said, stop it. Did you see the 60 Minutes this summer of Texas town where the border crossing is not black or brown people, but Asians? Oh, well, there are a lot of illegals in the state and top of the black and brown. Yes. But we're not seeing, I didn't see that. I don't see that. I just see.
And maybe he doesn't see it.
Yeah.
I mean, you can tell us stop it all you want, but
Yeah.
you're not seeing some things either.
Yeah.
So
Like, for an example,
it.
be honest with you, like at the end of the day, the human beings, like, I heard that ISIS went to Minuteman Car Wash.
Yeah.
Right. Now we all got our cars washed at Minuteman Car Wash. They are good people, man. They are good people. They're not criminals. They're not criminals. They're the nicest people. So what are we doing here? I thought it was all about criminals.
So I've had this conversation before with you.
Yeah.
I wish that we would have a conversation. Our politicians, right?
Yeah.
How can we make it come into this country legally, better, faster, more efficient? Why can't we do that?
That's my problem of the premises.
It's up to 9 months, 9 months to a year that they even getting approved,
That's my issue. It's not the reason that should they be doing this? Yes, it's the way they're doing it. It's to a point where it's like you could strategically do it. It seems like there is no plan. It's just like honestly, Trump won on fear. And he's using fear to try to dictate how things are going to be instead of strategically. At the end of the day, yes, you're right here illegally, and if y'all causing criminal, you're not a good person to our society. Get the fuck out. 100%.
Yeah,
but at the end of the day, too, you can't allow it. Like, at the end of the day, they're human beings.
Listen, I understand that, but like being here illegally is still a crime, is it not, Charlie?
Yeah, but it is. I get you.
I'm not saying they're bad people.
Some people, some have paperwork. They're actually still getting detained. So there has to be has to be a resolution, some kind of. They got to brainstorm this whole thing over again.
Charlie, listen, let me ask you something, right? Because
Yep.
you've been in law enforcement. Is
Yep.
that okay that I say that?
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
everybody, most people know, right?
Yep.
So I don't, you know, I'm not saying that I know the ins and outs about it. I don't know how ICE comes to the, you know, hey, we're going to do this. We're going to, you know, Minuteman Cobb. I don't know how they go about doing it.
Yeah.
Okay. And why. But what I'm saying is at the end of the day, like, you know, when you have a badge and you got to, like, you know, uphold the law.
Yeah.
They're still breaking the law by being here illegally. So I'm for, because me and Berto have had heated conversation about this, because I know we need, because these workers at the fish houses, you know, like landscape. We have American people that are lazy, that don't want to work. So we need these people to work. I get it. But if you're going to make it, and Clinton, Obama, all these people right down the line had the same, it's all in documented, you know, you need to come here legally, you know. So here we are. We're back to another president, you know, trying to enforce it like everyone else did. Maybe he's, you know, doing it more or whatever, but I don't have the answers. I just know that is breaking the law.
Yeah, it is. I agree. It's breaking the law. But what they need to do is when a lot of them, especially what's going on this first quarter, is a lot of people that are on visas. They did carrying their documentation with them, you know, so they can show, hey, yeah, you got me, but this is I got this,
Yeah, right.
that, you know, and they're showing that, and then they're still being detained.
Let me
We got to
ask you.
kind of
Okay, hold on. Not 1 second, Berto.
Okay.
If they're getting detained because of that,
Yeah.
do you think that they'll be, like, let free once they review it and be like, all right, he's good?
Yeah,
Like, do they, you know what I'm saying?
they'll get released.
That's what I'm saying. Would they get released?
Not on the scene though. Would they end up still getting cuffed?
Yeah, but the thing is, I mean, if a cop's just trying to do his job, or ICE or whatever, and someone gives you a paperwork, don't, like, it could be a fake ID. Don't you gonna kind of, like, maybe detain him? All right, let's check this dude out, and then, okay, sorry, but you're good to go.
If you have the expertise to look at it and say, hey,
Legit.
this might be fake. This doesn't look legit. You can kind of, you know, detain them on that, but it's how a lot of professionals are just.
But that's my thing. If you get pulled over, Charlie, right? You get pulled over before you. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. It's not illegal. This is just a regular citizen. You pull over. You run somebody's license plate.
Yeah.
Right. You already have the information right before you approach the car. No.
You'll have the owner of the vehicle.
Yeah.
As far as the driver, you won't have that until you.
All right. So when they give you their license,
yeah, no,
then you go back to the car,
yeah,
and you run their license, right, to see if there any warrants, or the license legit, or everything like that. Why should that be different from a immigration card? We have the technology.
Fair enough.
He goes, all right, goes, here's my license and my immigration card, this and that, whatever. Go back, see if it's legit. Boom. All right, it checks out. Have a good day.
And if immigration has a problem with someone maybe not maintaining their visa or whatever, there's enough alerts in NCIC that they'll get it sent to. It'll be all over the country.
Yeah.
So now if I run, you know, C Perry, blah blah blah, this SS number, boom, there's going to be a flag immediately that's going to flash on that computer. So now you can detain them and do all that. I don't think
I think there should be a special court for this situation if it's so bad. It should be a special court where they got to appear in front of a judge and everything like that, where they can have legal representation, because they have rights, even regardless if they're, U.S. citizens or not. You're in this country, and this is how we run our system. You know what I'm saying? And then if it comes out that you're not here legit and you committed a crime, this and that, right there and then, you're detained right there and there in the court. You're out. That's it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, people are getting arrested in Massachusetts being illegal, and the state, the judges let them back on the streets. Is that not correct?
If
instead of them passing them over to ICE or something,
yeah,
people are committing crimes.
Okay,
and they were letting them back into the.
Okay, and then that needs to be fixed.
That needs to be fixed.
That's definitely a court problem, and whoever's doing that, shame on them, because there's quite a few cases in California where someone was illegal, and done some violent crimes and end up killing someone on the highway. I'll never forget this. But and he had 4 altercations, four cases pending, and this was his 5th one, and someone died.
Yeah.
So now, if 1, 2, 3, 4, if something was done, that person
Someone
would
would
still
be alive right now.
Yeah,
Right.
So I definitely, the court definitely has to step it up, and address it. But and I don't want to say that just because you're an immigrant, you're a criminal. I want to make sure I'm not saying that, but something needs to be done when people are coming into court.
I mean, I do feel my last thought on this is,
Yeah.
if there's companies or places that are making like illegal papers,
Mm-hmm.
that person should be
Oh yeah,
shut down, arrested, like something, right? Because that's breaking the laws more than that's aiding and abetting or something,
yeah,
right?
yeah. There's definitely a lot of forgery and federal charges when it comes to that stuff. So chances are, and whoever's involved in that, the federal courts are going to say, "We got you. Um, you want to give us some information or whatever. Don't. All right, we're going to prosecute you." Like they say, the high 90s percentile in federal courts of people that are convicted. You're going to go to jail.
Yeah.
Definitely, if the federal court is giving you a plea bargain or something, take it.
Yeah.
And if not, because they usually bring cases that they're going to win.
Yeah.
And so, but I don't know.
Right.
Good topics, guys. I like this. And it's always the thing is that everything we're talking about it. Guess what? There's going to be another conversation. People are going to talk about it in the comment section, and they're going to, and I just want to give a shout out to all the teachers out there. They're going through a lot. I have quite a few friends that are teachers, and so they're going through a lot. And Berto, you talked about hunger and different things that are going on in kids' lives, and but we got to remember those teachers that are doing and living off their paychecks and having a fear, especially when you're on the administration level or the lower level as a teacher, and fear that maybe there's going to be some cuts and it might lead to staff cuts. And I hope not, because they're already shorthanded.
That's a good transition into the next topic. Is shutting down the Department of Education the right thing to do? What do you think?
I think if you're leery or something's coming to your attention that something's going on in the Department of Education, all right, do some checks and balances, try to figure it out. And especially when you're on the administrative level, both in this Department of Education and in the administration of the United States. Now you look at it where you ask questions and want answers, and you get those answers. Now you reevaluate it and decide what you're going to do. The one thing about the school system, all across the board from top to bottom, it's usually short-staffed. So any cuts is going to be a huge. It's going to have a huge impact on the community, on the country. So I'm a little afraid. We say down the south end, are scared.
Yeah. Let me ask you. Ask this. Let's say, like, what would you do as handling that issue when it comes to the Department of Education? Would you cut it, or would you handle it totally different? Like, what would be your personal solution?
Cuts is never wanted, and I don't want it, because I worked in the school department also, and I know how shorthanded they are with everything. So any kind of cuts it's going to be huge. There was a teacher in Kentucky. She was practically crying, getting interviewed, and she's worried. She's extremely worried in that community. But yeah, I think the cuts are going to be drastic, and I don't. There's waste everywhere. We talk about it every week.
Mm-hmm.
There's waste. Someone's got to get on it, and so they're trying to. But just to drastically cut the department at a very, very essential piece of the pie when it comes to this country is going to be heartbreaking. And
Do you agree it's the right thing to do though?
no, I don't. I don't.
What do you think?
Um, honestly, I don't know that I agree or don't agree. I
Mhm.
will say that I mean I will agree with it just because I feel like we could afford to change something because I feel like our levels aren't where they need to be.
Mm-hmm.
So Trump's not the first person that tried to like bring it back to the states. Is it the right thing to do? I don't really know, to be honest. I'm not in education, but I do feel that something needs to be done, and I don't think they're gonna cut because cut in education. Like I would never cut education. I would never cut police. Those two like essential things that we need
Yeah.
in our community, right? But even on our local level, and you know, I don't want to offend anyone, but say like you take like New Bedford for instance, right? I know there's always like a shortage of teachers. Okay, there's
Yeah.
like the classrooms are so big. We need teachers bring their own supplies to school. Are you kidding me?
Actually,
We
yeah.
got no money for supplies. Teachers have to with their salary have to bring supplies to
Seen it
school.
constant.
That's bullshit to me. Anyway, but I do feel like I'll use New Bedford as an example. I want to know, is there way too many like uh superintendents or assistant superintendent, the superintendent to the superintendent, you know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
is it too much fat at the top
Top heavy.
that we
they
can
say.
bring
Yeah,
down
yeah.
that we can bring down? So to me it's not a cut. Like to me it's like if you were to eliminate some of those positions, and this is what I'm saying with the Department of Education, if they eliminate the federal part of it, you can bring the money to like the state. If you eliminate these people at the top of New Bedford, say, right, some of them,
Mhm.
you can just take that money. You can call it a cut, but you're taking that money and maybe hiring 3 or 4 teachers instead. That's what I want to see happen.
Yeah.
I don't want to cut anything. I want to make it better for the teachers because they're the ones that are educating our kids.
Know what I would do? I'll make
I agree, Dirk.
I I would make school a year-round thing. That means that you have a longer period of time for these kids to learn. You're not pushing all the curriculum, right? You can spread it out. You're also, because they're going to school year round, you're preparing these kids for real life, right? Because in real life, you don't have summer vacations.
Mhm.
You have vacations. So maybe you could have your winter vacation, your summer vacation. Like maybe have 2 weeks in the summer and a week in the winter, a week in the spring, a week in the fall, and you have all your holidays throughout, but it'll give the teachers more time to teach. And that you can extend the curriculum where you can add on financial literacy, or maybe try to put in a little bit of critical race theory to teach them the history of this country, so they understand when they're adults they can make better decisions, not make decisions where you're repeating history again that was bad. um like I think that you need to reform the education department, not eliminate it. you know and maybe part of reform is doing a little bit of cuts, but to eliminate it altogether, I disagree, because there's so much services that's needed in homes. And yes, we have homes that's making bad decisions. We have people that's having kids that should not be having kids.
Mhm.
But the people are having kids, we're not having kids because they're not educated to make the right decisions. We can't fix them now. But how you're going to start it is with the kids. So you're going to provide the service to make sure the kids are taught the right way in the adolescent age, to a point where when they become adults, they're prepared to make better decisions as an adult. And I think that we need to make more of an investment, not take away. That's my opinion. There's actually a series on Netflix that just dropped this week called Adolescence, and it teaches how it's like a docu movie where it shows how social media has it affected a child where he committed a crime, murder, because how it influenced that person,
Mhm.
that child. So it go through that whole. I haven't watched it yet, so I'm not going to speak on much. But I just saw the previews where I want to watch it, and I feel like we need to make more of an investment in our kids, not take away. And again, we live in a country where how we live in Massachusetts, Alabama is not living the same way. So you taking away the Department of Education, it may not affect us as much as it will affect Alabama. And that's the difference. It goes, and I feel like all our system doesn't need to be taken away. We need to be reformed. I think we need to reform the police system. I think we need to reform the border system. I think we need to reform the court system, the political system, the financial system. Everything to be reformed. Do we need to take away these things? No, because these things what makes America great.
Yeah, but I don't think he's taken away the Department of Education. I think he's reforming it and bringing it to the states. I don't think he's taking it away.
He's taking away the federal part about
The
it.
federal part. Maybe there's not.
But there's
needed.
federal funding that needs to be allocated.
Yes.
So who's going to allocate that?
I don't know that piece.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't know that piece.
It seems like there is no plan. Now, he still got to go through Congress to get this agreed upon, which Republicans own the Congress and they don't want to go against Trump because Trump's going to embarrass them anyway. So they're going to probably do it anyway.
Well, maybe they just happen to agree with him.
If they agreed, they would have done it a long time ago.
Well, voting for it to me is a form of agreement.
True.
Whether,
but why they agreed on it? Because they don't want to go against Trump, where he's going to embarrass them and call them out.
And they're actually, and they're considering
the
losses to the citizens of the United States. Yeah, you go through your losses. Right now, I'm not going through my losses. I'm going to vote yes on this.
Yeah.
And it's going to go through. And if you call me out in 2026, so be it. But right now, I'm going to agree with the administration. That's what they're doing.
Just look how the judge is stopping them to listen. Like, all right, you may be deporting these criminals, but how do I know they're criminals on that plane? You didn't go through the due process. If you went through the due process, then criminals, all right, I'm fine with it. And he's just going by the law. But because he's going by the law and he's going against Trump, Trump is trying to embarrass him, where he's getting death threats and all this other stuff. It's like, so now I can't even do my job in fear of you call me out on this stuff. Like, that is not right. That's democracy, is making sure lawyers watching lawyers so we won't go broke. It's this. So you want to eliminate that. That gives me dictatorship vibes. If you don't do what I say, I'm gonna embarrass you. I'm gonna create fear into you. So you're scared to go against me.
So I think I was reading something where the person was saying that it wasn't the court had no say in whether that plane goes back or not. Like, how is it that whatever second district or whatever court it was, how do they have a say in that Trump can't send illegals back to another country?
They do have a say because you got to go through due process, regardless. You can't just say, "All right, try to get out of here."
But was he a federal? Wasn't he a federal judge?
He was I think he was a federal district judge.
Yeah, federal district.
So,
but what I'm saying is, like, if these people were here committed crimes or were here illegally, what's the problem?
You still have rights under the Constitution, even though you're here. You're not a U.S. citizen.
Like the deportation, like detaining is fine, all right, if you're gonna do that, but the immediate deportation is the problem.
It doesn't say U.S. citizens have the rights. It's every person has a right in this.
Every person should go through that.
That's what the Constitution says.
A hearing and then a judge decides, all right, you're deported. They're not even going in front of a judge or jury. They're actually getting detained straight to an airport
and gone.
That's where that's
against our Constitution.
So if someone just walks over the line,
you
can't be like, nah, turn around and head back. You have to, like,
as a law enforcement,
and you gotta, like,
you get arrested
as a that border patrol man or woman has some discretion. And if they want to say, all right, you ain't coming this way, and they run the other way back to wherever they're going, Canada, Mexico, whatever, that's you're just going to let them go. But once you detain them and cuff them, now there has to be a process. That process is put in writing for everyone that gets detained. Everyone, like the police officer cuffs someone, guess what? You have to go to the station. Now, years ago, you cuff someone and you want to give them a break, you uncuff them, let them go. Go back home.
Once you're in those cuffs,
you're in the cuffs and the cruiser, guess what? You got to go to the station.
Because he has to go to due process.
And truly, you have to see a bailsman and go to court. And they have to determine whether it's a false arrest or something. So all I'm getting at is that the detaining is fine. You know, do what you have to. Look at all the paperwork A through Z, and make a decision. And
People think it's
if
black
that,
and white.
in
It's
that
not.
hearing and that judgment or adjudication of that person says, "Oh, you're illegally and you're a criminal at that. You know, it's time for you to go," and then you ship them. But this is done. The detaining and the deportation was done within hours, and that's not due process. If we're gonna stand on America,
And the reason
and
being
America is
why
due
is
process.
why is like that. If they're able to do that, you're opening a Pandora's box for them to do it to their own citizens. That's what it is, yo. You may not say that. That's how dictatorship starts. You gotta just let go through due process. If they're here legally and they go through the due process, y'all cool. That's fair.
Don't
If
be frustrated, Derek. Some people are coming back, so there was mistakes coming,
yeah,
through the detained.
There's gonna be
Tension.
mistakes. I'm not,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
but there shouldn't be if they go through due process.
Well, I don't think we're not putting people on a plane, sending them back to other countries.
How do you know?
that are,
Well, they
that,
just
that are
did it.
American citizens?
How do you know?
I mean,
There has been. How do you know?
Do you have your license on you right now?
Yeah,
Okay, so don't I. Do you have your license on you right now?
yeah,
Mhm.
All right. Well, there's 3 of us.
yeah. So what are you saying?
If we get pulled over, we have our license on us.
Okay,
We're American citizens.
Okay.
They're not going to put us on a plane and send us back to another country.
but even if you're not a U.S. citizen, you still have due process because you're in this country. This is the way we have rules. You cannot ignore your rules.
So okay, so that's fine. I didn't know we had that rule.
Yeah, it's in the Constitution. It doesn't say the Constitution is held by people that's only a unit of citizens. It's by every person because at the end of the day, the Constitution recognizes you have human rights. That's how. So you go through due process. Now you're here illegally. You're breaking the law. So and so. You go through the process. Are you out? You went through American due process. This is not a dictatorship type of country, so it's not going to be run that way. And there's a reason. So you don't want to open a Pandora's box for eventually they find a way to do it to their own citizens. And if you think they're going to do it, if they're able to do it, to get away with this, it's literally like the judge that's trying to challenge him. He's using the law. And the president is like, I ain't following the law. So you're telling me you're that angry enough not to follow the law, and you don't think that, oh, I'm going to do it to my own citizens.
Well,
Humans are flawed.
Yeah.
And I can get away with this time. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it over here too.
Something's wrong because now that I didn't sign this, I didn't do this. This is what's going on with the administration, and now there's talk that Mr. Rubio did it. So now there's going to be checks and balance on this. Well, we gotta just sit down and just wait. Because this is it's never easy. With all this stuff, it's never easy. You talked about threats. You talked about, people. There's a court order that was court contempt. And there's so many different things that are going on right now. Some people are going to answer to it, and so we got to wait and see. But I like talking to you guys. You're like 2 little brothers. Man. I like this.
It's always good conversation,
Yeah.
I don't know. None of us have like the right answer or
But that's the whole thing. What is the right answer? Have the conversation. Don't just come in, you sit in the seat and start signing executive orders. That's dictatorship vibes to me. That's not democracy. I get his premise. I get what you're trying to do. And I actually agree. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to open Pandora's box to give you that much power that at the end of the day, as a human being, it's like, I'm going to do this to my own citizens. I'm not going to believe you're not going to do it because you show me who you are and I believe in you.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'll disagree with you there because I don't think he's going to do it to our own citizens. I think what he's doing is.
But Derek, remember you said, he said that, he's not following Project 25. And everything he's doing is Project 25.
He's following everything that he said in
Project 25.
No, he said he was gonna, shut the border. All these things that he said, is he not doing?
But that's all in Project 25.
I didn't read Project 2020.
But Project 2025, everything that's in Project 25, he's doing right from first day. And but yet he said,
I'll go read that.
I'm against that. Everything shutting down the Department of Education, Project 25. The way he's handling the immigrants, Project 25 is all the stuff. Eliminating black contribute to American history, Project 25. He's doing everything. Hold on. Isn't it just and that's the good
Segment.
transition.
Go ahead.
Where am I? I can't see all this stuff. Is it this right here? Yeah. And that's a good transition to the next topic. Is the Trump administration trying to eliminate contributions to American history, black contributions to American history? And the reason why this is a topic because the Pentagon at one point erased the history of Jackie Robinson being in the military, being honorably discharged in on the Pentagon website. And there's been other things that they've been trying to eliminate. I think that he also talked about there's a law and act where you can't have segregated bathrooms or segregated waiting rooms in places of business now. Now, if businesses want to have that, they can't because now it's not a law anymore. Now, people are going to do that? I don't know,
No.
but they can. It's not, and if they do, they're not going to be reprimanded.
Listen. That is like so much bullshit to me.
Why?
Because that's not going to happen. That is not going to happen.
And this is where
am I that naive?
Yes.
No, I don't think I am.
Yes. And this is where I use the word ignorance. And ignorance is not a word of disrespect. Ignorance means lack of knowledge and awareness. Go down south. Go in the deep south and really experience what black people go through. Go to Mississippi.
Oh, it's
go there.
It's all over this country.
We live in a state where this America started. We started. So we've been through this growing pains. So you ever notice that the policing issues that they have down south and all the way in the country, we don't have them here? Why do you think? Police started here. So they made all the mistakes. This is the best police force you're ever going to get is in the state of Massachusetts. This is the best educated. Why all the high achieving universities are here? Everything started here. Go down south. They're still playing catch up, bro. And if you go and be a black person in those southern states, it's a different world, man. It's a different world. And it's right in front of you, bro. I'm telling you, it's right in front of you. You don't believe it? And this is what I'm saying. Like, there's ignorance when it comes to that. You're like, and your experience as a white individual, and it's not your fault. I'm not saying because y'all a great person and y'all here sitting and willing to learn. Y'all willing to learn.
I plead the fifth too.
That's why I love you like that, because you're willing to have these conversations. A lot of people don't want to have these conversations and face their demons and realize, you know something? My granddad was one of those people. Because that's what it is. It's one generation ago that they were being like this. One generation that experienced this. I don't know if you ever asked your parents to have these conversations. Like, how was it when you were younger? When it came to this? Like, really talk to them. They're probably, your parents are good people. They probably don't even want to talk about it because they're probably talking about their friends. Not them individual, but they're probably their friends. Like, it's one generation ago. It's not so long ago. So if you got one generation down south where they still deal with that, it's crazy. I sent you a video with Tommy Davidson.
Mm-hmm.
Tommy Davidson, like, I'm gonna try to find it, yo.
Yeah,
like
biracial.
Yeah, like, I gotta find it. Like, just give me time to go find it. You speak on this. What do you think? Oh, Charlie, what do you think?
Well, I think that there's a very civic-minded country. I think that a lot of things that it's good on theory, but you got to practice the theory, and I don't. That's when I think it's it's not going to be implemented. It'll fail. But there are sprinkles of what we're talking about throughout the country. From the north to the south. Where there's incidents. Where there's some kind of inequality or racism going on. Not too far from here. So we can't just kind of put it down as a southern thing because it's not that. And
let me just play this clip of Tommy Davis.
Yep.
Just let people listen to this.
Me and my sister would be late to high school. You go late to high school, enough times you got to go to detention.
Right.
But my sister never had to go. But I had to go every single time. So my mother said, I'm coming down there. She came down. She went to the principal's office. She said, why does my son have to go to detention and my daughter doesn't? They say, and my sister's name is Burl. Your daughter's Burl? Yeah. She said, but why does that matter? Why does that matter? And they got it all straight. But my mother took me home.
He was
that day. She said, you come
by a
with
white
me.
family.
And she was driving and she pulled the car over. And she told me this, boy. I'll never forget this. She took me to a little park and sat me down, boy. She looked at me. She said, I'm going to tell you the truth. She said, your sister can be late all she wants and still get ahead, but you're black. And if you want to get ahead, you can't be late. You can't be late. And man, I wanted to cry. I was like, well, that ain't
fair.
Right? What's that? But she was showing me. And before her life was over, she asked me, and she never would ask me for nothing. She said, I want you to do one favor for me. She never asked me to do stuff. She said, I want you to come over to this old folks home and say hi to these little guys. So she had done this without me knowing. She took an old folks home, talked the city into giving her the top floor, all the services, the food, the beds and everything. And she housed 25 young black men who were victims of gunshot wounds and were crippled. And she was like, would you come and say hi to them? Me and my sister would be late to high school. You go.
So that's basically what he's saying. He was adopted by a white family, and him and his sister, who was white, was late to school. And he always get detention. His sister never did. And he didn't understand why. And his white mother had to take him aside and let him understand why. Now, this is man, he's probably in his late 50s. It's one generation ago.
Yeah, we talked about this.
Yeah. So if you feel like that's not an issue in this country today, when it's only one generation, because racism is taught. And a lot of people may be racist, don't even realize they're racist because they're just taught like this is their normal lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? And it exists.
Well, I mean, it sounds to me that there's a flawed individual that was, given the attention to the black kid.
Yeah, administrator or teacher.
Right.
Yeah,
So there's a flawed person, because when I sit here, and I'll just be honest with you, we talked about this before. I don't know. I have like a different view on things. Like I don't think there's so much racism out there that the media projects or something. That's just me.
Because I'm not saying this in a bad way. Because you're white, you're not going to see it. You're not going to experience it.
And
I have a cousin.
That's fine.
I have a cousin who is blue-eyed and white like you. And I've talked to him, and he told me stories. This is my first cousin. This is my this. I love this dude. My first cousin. He was born first. I was born second in the family. All right. And he's told me stories where he'll be on a site, a construction site. It'll be a bunch of black people. And everybody, yeah. All the black people will leave and they'll start nigga this, nigga that, talking, making fun of him, this and that, not knowing he's half black. He's told me stories. See, they won't talk like that around people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's more covert. Now down south is totally
yes.
different.
I mean, I can't say here as a white man,
Yeah.
and tell you and Charlie how you guys feel as
Yeah.
far as being a black.
Our
Right? Yeah,
experience is
of course I
different.
can't.
Yeah.
100%.
And I experienced it.
100%
And
different.
just let me say this, and I'll let you finish. I experienced it working for the company that I work for.
Yeah.
Because there was a few years where I was the only black driver.
Yeah.
And trust and believe, my white coworkers came up to me and said, "Yo," because I was making mistakes that the white counterpart was same mistake,
Same mistakes.
but
Yeah.
I was getting reprimanded more harder than them.
Yeah.
And they brought it to my attention.
Yeah.
They're like, "Yo, that's some racist shit, though." You know what I'm saying? Like I experienced that in the now it makes me proud where you see more minority drivers that in the company that I work
Yeah.
for, but it wasn't like that. It was hard, Joe. It was hard.
I'm sure it was.
You know what I'm saying?
Sure
It
it was.
affected my home life, my mentality, everything. I don't talk about it much, but it was hard.
Yeah. So I can't speak on stuff like that, obviously, right?
Uh-huh.
And probably people say like, I have white privilege, and I know white privilege is a thing too, right? Maybe getting pulled over or what have you. But when I say I don't see like the racism out there,
Yeah.
it's not so much like what have I've experienced, but it's what I see. It's like, because again, we're talking like one generation away, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like, we voted for a black president. There are so
Mhm.
many more black CEOs. Like, I feel like, as a society, we've not fast enough or not enough, but we still have come a long way since the one generation that we talk about. So I don't know that we glorify all black athletes. All our favorite athletes that we want to tune into every day are black. We buy all their gear. We were racist. We're not really doing that. Are there some flawed individuals like that administrator,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
someone in your company?
but that's you see, and I understand why you're looking at it the way you're looking at it. It's not like, yeah, we're good enough to entertain you, right? You're saying athletes, this and that. You're saying there's a lot of CEOs, right? Like we just started having a black owner in the NFL now. We actually had to implement the Rooney Rule just to get a head coaching interview.
I mean, I agree.
All right.
I agree.
Like, so we like think about that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if you look how like for an example, in the NBA, you have black coaches. Are they getting these great jobs? No, they're always getting the suckiest team. But if they have a team that's great, they're not giving to a black head coach that's more qualified. They'll give it to a coach that doesn't even have.
JJ Redick.
Thank you. What did he do to even get that job? Steve Nash, when they had Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and James Harden, and they give it to Steve Nash, he never coached a game in his life.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? But you have more qualified black coaches to take over that job that probably would have done a better job. But you're not seeing that. We feel that because that happens to us all the time.
And it's not fair to Steve Nash either. Because,
no, it's not.
The players.
It's not.
The players will now have something in the back of their mind, their mindset. Oh, who do you know? So now it's already putting a wrench in the mechanism,
Yeah.
and that Steve will never be successful, and he wasn't. Was he one of the greatest point guards? Yes, absolutely. Smart basketball mind. Big Dirk still talks about how intelligent he was and how he was able to
no question.
And I think it's when they do things like they're doing it, it's just not that inequity it causes more problems than you think, or they think, because now here you have all these athletes not thinking that he was capable of doing a job, and he actually did a bad job though. He
wasn't the right person for that job, but because of who he was, and I think there was a lot of why isn't Mark Jackson would have been perfect for that job?
Well, they talked about Mark Jackson. Even at that point, they even Sam Cassell's name was coming up. There was even some coaches that were failures, and but there was a lot of experience that never got a look at it. You mentioned the Rooney Rule, right, in the NFL. it's a joke now. Wasn't it all off season? Wasn't it during the season? No, it'd have to be off season to hire a guy. Um, but it was a big joke, when they were bringing people in. Well, he's only part of the Rooney Rule.
Yeah,
He's
right,
not
right.
going to get a job.
That's where it's coming down now.
And so now it's a laughable thing. It's a real joke when it was something that was real serious, and that's why it was established. But it's getting to the point. Me as a black man, I wish they get rid of it, because now that's always the first thing that comes up. Oh, Coach Berto Carter is getting interviewed for the Detroit Lions.
He ain't getting
part of the Rooney Rule.
Yeah, he ain't
Not
getting
gonna
it.
get it.
He ain't getting
He's
it.
the first one
through the
being
process.
interviewed. They're just going to eliminate him. He gets
Yeah.
interviewed, boom, he's out the door.
Yeah.
All right, we got that done. Now we got 3 candidates.
That's why people are like upset about DEI. Like, oh, eliminate DEI, but why DEI exists in the first place? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because people are not getting their equal shot. You understand what I'm saying?
You know what? In Berto, you mentioned that, but you know what? Guys like you and I, yeah, we're angry.
Yeah.
But you know what? The fight is coming from Caucasian men and men and women. They're having the biggest fight about it, and real strong about it. They're really pushing. I see all the interviews, and this is just my perception, what I see. But they're coming out of woodwork, and they're more angry than we are. We're angry, but I see so many of them.
We mean anger on the arbor's perspective. They feel like they're missing their jobs because this DEI.
Yeah, and rightfully so. I mean, some people went to college for 4 years to do diversity and doing the diversity. They got certified with their bachelor's and master's degree to do that. Now all of a sudden their jobs are eliminated. So there's financial loss, but I got to tell you, there's a lot of white people, male and female, that are fighting for this, and they're
But
ready.
a lot of people, the people that benefit from DEI, were white women.
Yeah.
It wasn't.
That's a proven fact.
You know what I'm saying? Same thing with civil rights. People don't understand. Like, civil rights all started with the Voting Act for women, for us to vote, and white women took that over. And it made the movement more powerful. And I always say the civil rights movement will never exist if you didn't have your white counterparts joining into the fight.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like, if you watch, like, again, I get on you about watching Selma. It tells you, like, once they killed a white priest from Boston because he was on the side of Martin Luther King, they had no choice, man.
Yeah.
And it's sad to say that you had to use there's been a lot of black lives that was lost and they weren't doing nothing. You got that one light, that white light, like, wait a minute, these people are crazy.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's why we have to teach. That's why I believe in critical race theory. You got to teach that stuff so we don't repeat it. I think we're repeating a lot of history. A lot of people don't know the history of America, and black history is American history. Case in point, man. You're not America without that all black battalion. You ain't winning that Civil War right now. Without the all black battalion, you still be a Confederate country right now. Look it up, man, and go to the Tuskegee Airmen. Like, all these things, the black contribution to this country was big. And this is what I'm saying. If you're gonna go back and eliminate all this black history and the black contributions to American history, and you got another war, you're gonna want black people's help.
Yeah.
And black people gonna be like, nah.
Well, I think what's going on is they're doing a lot of elimination, but they're not kind of going through it.
I think it's an algorithm. I think it's a computer.
They're just like boom, boom, boom. Is 20, 30,000 of people, and they're just eliminating it and not checking it.
Yeah.
I mean, they admitted to this mistake with Jackie Robinson. I mean,
but I don't even think that was a, come on, everybody know who Jackie Robinson is, yo.
Well, that's actually a common American name, and I think
But if you think of Jackie Robinson, what's the first
But
person y'all thinking about?
they're not seeing it like they're not seeing it uh through images. They're seeing it through data. And so the data is reading Bert Okada, Charlie Perry, Dr. Mers. All right, let's eliminate all three of them. Boop, 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 boom. Not knowing that, you know.
And that's what's dangerous about dependent on technology.
Yeah.
Because technology was developed by flawed individuals as humans. So if you don't think technology is flawed, it is as flawed as the people that created it.
Mm.
And you know what I'm saying? So we need to, again, you're doing it in this, like with that chainsaw he's doing, but you got to do it strategically. You're like, oh, I'm gonna do a chainsaw. Oh shit, they handled the nuclear codes. Oh shit, man, now come back, come back, come back. Oh, they could just cut it out. Oh shit, not that Jackie Robinson. Oh wait, come back. Like, come on, man. You supposed to be a smart individual.
Well, I
bro.
think Charlie said it. Like, you know, sometimes the cuts that they're doing. I'm not saying it's like computer rhythm or something, but there's gonna be some mistakes when anytime you do anything at a massive scale, there's gonna be some.
But that's what I'm saying. You gotta go, because you're doing something at a massive scale that have. It's not yet. You can't go it like a business,
Like
because you cut things. It's affecting people versus an object of $1, and that's where. And a lot of people like don't understand. Elon Musk has a disorder called Asperger's. It's a form of autism.
Yeah.
All right, and that form of autism, he cannot feel empathy. So you have a man controlling this situation who's autistic and can't feel empathy. That is a wrong type of person to have that person in this position. In my opinion. That's why he could do the chainsaw and like, he don't care because he's not really thinking of how he's hurting people. He really doesn't care. And it's not his fault. That's just his autistic disorder that he has.
So can I just say,
yeah,
I want to thank the people for writing in.
No
I think
question.
it was Brad Constant said, you know, I agree with you about the Department of Education. My friend Steph just wrote a long quote right there. You know, I agree with some of that. I agree with what. So what do you think about her comment? Like, why don't we stop talking about race? Like, do you think we talk about race too much? Like, why is it like, you know, Charlie Perry the black man or Bert Okada the black man? Why is this, you know, Charlie and Berto? Like, you know what I mean? Why do we talk about race too much?
I think with the topics we're bringing it up, it's always going to be something that's there. I particularly don't want to talk about it on most cases, because I'm doing it in an individual level. So coming here and talk about it again, and then go home and trying to wind down through everything that was said. You know, someone might have left something in my head, whether it's something in the comment section or something where we talked about here. And now I'm thinking about it some more when I go home, when I should basically just be resting and getting ready for the early sunrise when I got to be at work. So yeah, it's overwhelming at sometimes, you know, when you're talking about it. And I think the intellect on this panel that we have right here, we can always talk about other things too. So, you know, with Steph, I agree, and
yeah, she's 100% right.
Yeah. You know, and maybe we can do something about that here, because you don't want to distract anybody from coming to view us, and especially saying, "Oh, guys, it's always race. It's always, you know, the black host against the white host." You know, and I don't want that.
No, and it's not that. I think that I look at it in a way of Derek's experience is not our experience.
Yeah, and
so when you're having a, you know, so, and Derek is living through a world that we're not living in the same world. We can walk in the same room, but your experience is not going to be my experience. Like, it's almost like if you walk into an establishment where it's all black people, you know what I'm saying?
Like,
you're gonna feel like, and you have,
like last night.
Yeah, like last night. You know what I'm saying? Like you, there's no way you can say you was 100% comfortable. Not because you felt like you was threatening anything like that, but it's like, all right. But then if I go into a place that's all white, it's not comfortable for me. And it's not because I think these are bad people. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
no, I can.
Until I get to
Yeah.
know them personally, and I'm a kind of person, I purposely go into white establishments because I feel like I want to be, I want to. It's almost like I'll just give you an example. I deliver in Fairhaven. Trust me, when I first started that route, the looks I was getting, the way I was treating was different. It was different. And I made a point to try to be as professional as I can for them to accept me. And if you don't think that's where it was like that.
Yeah, I'm not saying it wasn't that.
You know what I'm saying? It was like that. Now they're comfortable with me. Oh, they talk to me. This cool and this and that. It's a totally different vibe. They accept me, but they had to get to know me. But before they were already I could feel it. I could feel it. It's and not, they're good people. Don't get me wrong. They're great people, and they treat me well, and I try to do my best to treat them well. But at first, there was some tension there. You could feel it,
Yeah.
and that's just the reality of it.
Yeah, it's human beings. I mean, we
Yeah.
all, whether you putting up a barrier or them putting up a barrier or little reluctance until there is an icebreaker, whether it was you having a conversation, them having a conversation with you. Eventually that's human nature. We're going to go through it. We have biases in our heads, and which, did I feel that at any point with Derek? Probably no.
No.
Did I feel that with anybody in his family? No, I
Mm.
didn't. However, there's some other families I put a barrier instantly.
Yeah.
But
And maybe
we already know how diverse the Demers family is. So
and maybe that's
he's
like, I believe racism is taught, but I also believe the pain of racism that caused black people, that's taught also.
Listen. That is a big statement that you
Yeah.
taught me like 2 weeks ago. I never ever thought about it in that
Mhm.
context, like, because you like racism's taught, like you, but I didn't realize or think about like the pain is taught
The
too.
pain is taught too.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I'm like, listen, I know I sometimes I have a little different vision on things, and think everyone's great, and I want to be friends with everybody.
Yeah, that's you.
Right?
Yeah.
I have no problem with anyone, right? But it's
Yeah.
like I get it that it's not always that way.
No.
So I don't see sometimes see it like that, but
Mhm.
I get it.
there's one city close to us that I never went in that city at night. Never.
Really? Oh, really?
Whoa, town. Yeah, town.
Yeah.
I never, ever.
Oh yeah, you don't go
And
to Westport.
I was,
yo.
I mean, hey, that's times when I was carrying a gun.
Yeah.
It just. Oh,
How do I know that was the time you was talking about?
No.
But see, that's our
Yeah,
experience.
yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
I do.
Yeah, and that's just real. He's like, yo, at nighttime, don't even go to Westport. He goes, even deep Dartmouth. It is. That's our experience, yo.
I
It's
can't.
crazy.
Yeah, I can't. Can't tell how you guys feel.
Yeah,
Like, I mean,
exactly.
yeah.
That's why conversations like this, even though it could be very uncomfortable, it's needed to understand why people think the way they think, why they take certain offense to it. Because even though we're walking down the same street, we have totally two different experiences.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's all it is. And it's not each other's fault. It's just the way the world was set up for us. So how do we change that? We change it. We're befriending each other, talking to each other, and understanding each other. You know what I'm saying?
But I just thought of this, and I want to just share this. If I'm walking down the street at night, it gets dark out, right? And there's a black guy coming towards me.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to cross the street. Okay. And then after I cross the street, if there's a white guy coming towards me at night, I'm probably going to cross the street again.
Yeah.
Like, to me, it's not a race thing. It's a at night thing.
At
like,
night,
you know what I'm saying?
yeah.
So you as a black man might be like, oh, this dude's afraid of me because I'm black.
Yeah.
Dude, I don't care what color you are.
And you say that, but the key is you're saying night. During the day, you probably wouldn't do that.
Yeah, no.
No.
It's like a safety thing, right?
At night, it's different.
Yeah.
Safety thing.
Yeah,
But and it's black. I would do the same thing for a white guy at night.
I've
Like not
done that.
knowing like wait, you're in a neighborhood. You're not.
You ever see, like, be observant when you're walking down the street and you ever see a black person cross another person, they'll know each other, but they'll nod each other.
I don't notice that.
Yeah, we do that. It's like,
Really?
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know you. You know, you think we know each other.
Yeah.
No, we don't know each other. Know it because we like, I'm in the same world as you, yo.
So
I'm trying to tell you.
if you give that, you give your eye.
Y'all getting some education on black shit.
So
right now.
I'm laughing because I feel like I do that with like black and white people. I just do that with people. Like, what's up?
What's that?
What's up?
Yeah.
I think everyone likes me, and I like everybody.
Nah.
I like what's up to everybody.
It's different, yo. When you see, because we're taught to be very like, don't show emotion, don't show any sign of weakness. So you're walking down, when you see another black person, you be like, and that's just a sign. It's like, all right, black.
All right.
And that's what. Am I lying?
I experienced. It's more so that when I was in California, it was always acknowledgement.
Yeah.
Florida, same way.
Yeah.
I definitely lived that. So, but
All right.
hey,
Let's move on.
Just move on to,
Let's move on to the next
whatever.
topic.
What's the next one?
Relationship or something? We're moving on.
Yeah. Okay. Let me see.
It's getting late.
Let's get into. I want to get into.
The Breakfast Club.
Yeah. Where's that? See? I can't.
Right there. You got the arrow on it.
Oh, I'm sorry. Get it. Hold on. Right there. Up more. Yeah, I see it right here.
Yeah.
All right. I need to get the clip. All right. I want to speak on. Well, we want to speak on, not just I. Speak on emotional. Well, how did I put it?
Workplace emotions.
Workplace emotions. I want to reference the issues. If anybody watched the Breakfast Club, I always listen to them every single day.
I'm starting to get into that.
Like watching it in podcast form, like you get a different. And that's good. See, Derek, you listen to black media, so you get a different perspective.
He's good.
Charlamagne the God is good.
Yeah,
Yo, and know what it is. He's self-educated. It's not something that he was very influenced. He educated because he used to be an asshole when he first got into the media business.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was a total asshole, but he self-educated himself. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, his popularity actually came not maybe 6 years ago. It grew to be a little bit better. You know, he made an adjustment of how he was doing things, his content, and how he was coming at people.
Yeah, and he educated himself and being like, yeah, I like Charlamagne the God. Like, I want to be the next Charlamagne the God, yo. So, but okay,
we got to trim your eyebrows.
Yeah, right. Breakfast Club had an issue. So basically, last year they implemented a new host because Angela Yee, that was the weird with them for the last probably like 13, 14 years. She went on to do her own show, and they had a year-long interview of different hosts to become this next host, and they hired Jess Hilarious, who's a comedian and actress, and she's good. But then, a few months into her stint as being a host on the Breakfast Club, that she got the job, she got pregnant. So once she had the baby, she took a lot of time off. They had another host come in and take her spot. It was one of the hosts that was up for the job that she eventually won. But when she came back, there was like, all right, what's the position?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I want to bring this up because we're on the radio and we're doing a show, something that is probably built on a carbon copy of them, so to speak. And just listen to where Jess Hilarious and the person that she that took her spot while she was gone when she had her child, what they were going through.
Never told me nowhere to tell me that. Because the way that I do things when it comes to my job and my career, that's not what we on. And I told you from the jump, I was never going to give that to you.
Okay.
Ever. And I did not. Our first conversation, I said, if I ever have an issue with you, I'm gonna handle it in a way where we can get through a conversation because we grown. And regardless, you don't gotta love me, you don't gotta like me, but we here together. I'm here.
And listen, like I said earlier, the internet loves mess.
Yes, you are here.
And one of the easiest ways to create mess is to pit women against each other.
And you're here because of an opportunity that I extended.
Regardless,
no. I'm not sitting here like you don't deserve to be here. I'm not sitting here like you're not here. You're not going anywhere. That's first and foremost. Let's get that. It may be my delivery or whatever, but yeah, you are here. I ain't never say you shouldn't be here. I said from the whole jump, yeah, Shorty do the job. Great. She's amazing. That's why I want it to be her segment. I
think y'all can work very well together. And once again, you got to stop letting the internet pit y'all against each other. I know the internet has created a narrative, Lauren versus Jess versus Lauren.
No, but that's what it is.
And that's what I'm trying to say is the internet is there. We see it. None of us can ignore it. I saw that Corey thing a week ago. It didn't say nothing about it.
But y'all clear up everything else. Nobody want to clear up that I'm not doing that. I don't like you, or I'm hating on a.
They say I'm gay. I ain't never came up here and said I don't suck no pee-pee.
That's true, though. That's different now. Come on.
The last time I attempted to do that, Jess, it went so bad that I said I wasn't going to do it again.
Attempted to do what?
I don't dislike you. You don't dislike me. The day you came back. That's what my intentions was. And we talked about
that was different. The way when I did come back, Lauren, you have to admit that ish was crazy. The way we had a setup, we had something going, we had a whole nother plan. It went left. You came in here and it's like you did something totally different. The first thing that you spoke to was the things in the comments.
I feel like we're having a behind the scenes meeting on air, which is kind of cool. But let's go to commercial or something, and then come back.
Well, the whole thing is we need a resolution, bro. We'll take some phone calls, but
so that's what they had on air on the radio.
They talk about they're great communicators and they can do the let's have a conversation and all that. And the first thing they did is they didn't even meet and greet each other. First thing they did is went right to social media to have a conversation. Mm-hmm. But the conversation was with all the positive and negative vibes that were in the comment section. And then all of a sudden now you bring it to work. And so young lady said, Corey, why bring that up? That was an internet post. So now you bring it up when you're having a discussion amongst your colleagues. All right, forget that. You know how evil the social media can be. And now here you are, you mentioned something coming from social media and you think that's going to resolve the conflict that's amongst colleagues. No, it's not. Eliminate things on your own and don't bring things up. You may bring something up, but guess what? I'm not going to do it. Mm. Just you got to do it. They were bad judges of what they're in. They should know it firsthand. They should know how social media is. And here it is. They relied on social media and bring it into the workplace. And that was their first fall.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And they first brought it to social media. Just Hilarious. That's what started the whole thing where Just Hilarious went on live and expressed her feelings. And be honest with you, like I listen to every day, and I've been listening to every day, so I understand the process when she got on the show. And when she came back, I understand what she was talking about. Mm-hmm. I felt a little tension there. Yeah. She wasn't as engaged when she got back, and she wasn't speaking, and she wasn't her normal funny self. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I felt that. So when this happened, yes, the way it happened, you're absolutely right, Charlie, that it shouldn't happen that way. But when it happened, I wasn't surprised. Yeah. I wasn't surprised because I was questioning, it's like, where did this girl Lauren come from? Mm-hmm. Justin Harris was the third co-host. Yeah. And all of a sudden, and if you listen more deep into the conversation, yeah, Lauren, you are speaking I understand how you feel. Just Hilarious feels like you were speaking too much. You're overstepping your boundaries. Your position is almost like you're the fourth host, and that's what she was saying. Yeah. There is no fourth host, but they kept her on as a producer and have her own segment. And I think she did that because she does things a little bit better as far as reading like the news and everything, like better than Just Hilarious. Yeah. So it's almost like y'all you're getting one person in two, you know. But you know, I think that whoever has the creative control of the show really messed up in as far as the communication of it and knowing everybody's position. You know, everybody can't be a chief. There's gotta be Indians, Joe.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's what
I think that show 3 hosts is good enough.
yeah.
I think 4 is going to be a problem.
Mm-hmm.
I really, it is 4, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, but now you could tell after this conversation, Lauren is not in the studio now.
Yeah.
It's like she'll come in for a segment and that's it. And then if Jeff's not here, she'll fill in.
Yeah.
But she's not. You know what I'm saying?
She's like a Charlie Perry.
Yeah, she's like a Charlie Perry. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, three works.
Yeah.
Chit chatting, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So what do you think, D, about that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm actually starting to get into that show a little bit.
Yeah.
You send me some clips here and there.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think I can see exactly what you said. Someone coming back all of a sudden, and there's another voice, you know.
Yeah, it's, you know, like obviously it's like, you know, we had our ups and downs on our radio station, you know, during, you know, if it was the wind down or the Frequency Live. It happens in the workplace. It's all about how you're going to handle it, because you have different personalities, and you know, you just got to learn through those, what I said in the beginning, arguments, and understand, like, all right, maybe, you know, I didn't communicate well, or maybe I am overstepping my boundaries, or you know what I'm saying? So, you know, it's a lesson. Life is a lesson. And you know, they just aired their dirty laundry on air, which was a good TV, good listening. Don't get me wrong. It seems like they're learning how to work together as professionals. But that, regardless if it was on air or off air, it needed to happen for them people to establish what position you're in.
Yeah.
You know. So
I'd love to do that one more topic if we can, about the dress.
Oh yeah, that's the last thing we're going.
Yeah, I love that.
So where are we at? Okay. All right. So speaking of the Breakfast Club, if anybody watched the Cosby Show, Felicia Rashad played the mother of the Huxtables, and she's just a classy woman.
She's awesome.
She's just a very classy woman, and and she was on the Breakfast Club as a guest, and there's so many things so many clips I could take from her interview to make topics on this show. But this one particular one, I think that it resonated with me in my perspective of things, and I want, and I was funny because I've had conversations with my peers, and we have this conversation all the time. So listen what she have to say.
You know, you came up in an era, Miss Rashad, where dignity and grace were everything. So do you ever look at how wild Hollywood is now, and you just think to yourself, boy, y'all got it easy. Y'all wouldn't have got away with that in my day.
Yeah, you'd have to look at Hollywood. I could look at the way young ladies dress.
No, I shouldn't have wore some other pants.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about elbow, shoulder over here. You know,
You want my coat?
the young ladies are so beautiful. They're so beautiful. And something has happened in popular culture. You know, and I don't mean to be critical, and I hope young ladies listening don't take this as personal criticism, because I don't mean it that way. But you're young queens. I'm taken aback when I see on a college campus young women dressed in strips of clothing. But more importantly than that, no man wants his woman to be out like that. Right?
I grew up on Method Man saying, wearing 3/4 of cloth, never showing your stuff off. Boo.
That's right. But not only that, you know, it's like there's today's designers. I mean, there's ways, you know, there are other things, and I just
leave something to the imagination.
Yeah, it would be nice.
Some things are for my.
So what do you think about your comments on that, guys?
Well, I think it's. I definitely think that you know, if a woman doesn't want you to look at her, she shouldn't be so revealing, you know. some get so offensive, you know, when you may look at their cleavage and, well, that's all I see right now, you know, that's in front of me. Look at me in my eyes. I'm Charlie, my eyes are up here. You know, you got to kind of think about it and dress appropriate. But I'm also not going to, if it's a lady that feels very good about her body, I'm not going to tell her it's bad, because you may have another issue where you're affecting their mental health or something by body shaming them and saying don't dress like that. But it's out there, you know. But I don't know. I definitely won't be telling my wife how to dress, you know. But I don't have to worry about it either. I know how she's gonna present
Is that the reason
herself.
why you don't tell her? Because you don't have to worry about it?
I don't have to worry about how she dressed. She's not gonna be so.
But what if you
revealing?
If would you tell her?
If I had to do that, we probably would have never got married, because I don't think that's that definitely wouldn't have went off, you know. She wouldn't have liked that, you know. And it's not me. It's definitely. But if I did say that, I don't think we wouldn't be talking about Mr. and Mrs. Perry. It'll probably be something that a dating thing, you know.
What's your opinion?
I love like sophisticated sexy. Like I love sexiness, right?
Yeah,
but like
right.
in a classy, sophisticated way. When I see a woman that is like, you know, showing half her boobs, or like, I'm not really into that. I mean, I might look at it and be like, she's pretty fine or sexy, whatever. But for my lady, like someone that I would be interested in, I'm not. I like that for me, but not showing the world and you know, like going out like that in public. You know what I mean? It's like,
I'm gonna play a clip too, and this girl, this woman, she articulated in a perfect way, because a woman asked her a question. Because when you have a man who says, "Hey, I don't like you dressing like that," you know, your man, and women always say, "Oh, you're insecure."
Yeah.
It's not insecurity, because there's a lot of things in this world that men see that women you don't see. We don't allow you to see, because you shouldn't see that.
Yeah.
You know, so we know how men are. We are men. We have conversations with men. We see what men have done, and they know what triggers them and reacts and everything like that. If it's just approaching you, or maybe you could get that crazy where it's gonna do some sexual assault to you. Now, it shouldn't be the way you dress. You're 100% right. But
it can.
It can.
In reality,
it shouldn't be, but it can.
Is sometimes you dress a certain way is saying this is an invitation. To strike.
That's how men are looking at it.
Yeah,
Maybe as a woman, you're not meaning it that way, but it's almost like you're texting somebody and they perceive a text that you don't mean in that way.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So listen to this clip that she articulated very well.
Is it insecure of a man not to like or want you to dress sexy in order for you to be his wife?
What's sexy?
What I got on, like what I got on right now.
Oh, let me, I gotta get a good look at you. Let me see, where your shirt at? Kitty, what do you think?
I think that sometimes some of y'all women really don't understand how territorial men are. It's different if you were covered up, but baby, you got tape on. So yes, of course, a man who knows how men are going to look at you, knowing that there's going to be men who are going to be predators or going to pursue you, he's right for saying that. That's not meaning that he's insecure. He's territorial. That's a man's nature, and that's absolutely okay. It's your responsibility as his woman to understand his nature and to also have boundaries with yourself, knowing what you are exposing yourself to. I'm gonna say this, I'm gonna be quick. I'm so glad I can have conversations with my husband, because I asked him, we had a deep conversation. I said, what is it about women that will make you not wife her? And the first thing he said, the way she presents herself.
It's 100%.
That's coming from a man. Yeah. Men will tell you that if you dress provocative, they're going to see you as an object. Stop calling men insecure. That is their God-given right to say, I don't want my woman to present herself out here, because not only is she a representation of me, she's a representation of herself.
Yeah. She articulated that perfectly.
Yeah.
So I just want to say one thing about what Charlie said, because I do agree with you in this respect about it. Like, you know, a woman say could like have lost some weight, and you know that they're feeling good about themselves, so they dress like, you know. So I would never want to tell her, you know what I mean? I get that side, but I 100% agree with that.
100%.
Yeah, it's definitely on point. She's definitely someone from down south.
Yeah.
I'm just assuming, you know, who that lady was. And because I don't know, I can't say down south, but her culture is so family oriented that you know, she had a discussion with her husband, and to get a man's perspective on it. So
and she's showing respect for her husband, and her
Yeah.
husband, and you have so much respect to take what he has to say. Is like, and I think that for most men, now that what she explained, her man, and goes, yo, what makes you be a wife is like how you present yourself.
Yeah. So do you think that's old school though? Because
No.
like, Alicia Rasad, she's like, you know, she's older school.
Older.
But do you think that mentality is old school? Do you think the women nowadays are more like, you're not going to tell me what to wear?
Nowadays, yeah.
I
right,
agree.
Right.
Yep.
But you notice how people are not getting married anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And things of that nature.
Right.
There's like the pregnancy rate is lower.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's getting to a point where it's like, yo, I'm not getting married. Like, you're not even respecting me. You know what I'm saying? And men are not gonna marry because, yo, I'm seeing how you present yourself.
She's like, to me, like someone's not even respecting themselves.
Yes.
By going out in public like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's so funny because this topic what we discussed, but I was at an event. Shout out to Sean Medina. He had a good event. It was a hustle event for females, a networking for females that have their own businesses and a hustling and you. I was at this event in the brunch, and you see all these women dressed they're sexy, but they were classy. They was dressed classy. They, you know, you still see their shape,
Yeah.
you know, and all healed up, but they were so dressed and just sexy. And I was like, I'm sitting with one of my boys that's from Providence. She was like, yo, I just love looking at women just dressed like this. You think this little small dress or showing your titties and this, you think, yeah, we'll look at it.
Yeah.
But we're not looking at you the way my boy was looking at these women. It was like,
not for a wife.
Yeah, exactly.
Not for a wife.
We'll hit it.
Yeah, not for a
But
wife.
we're not gonna say, I want to wipe that up and bring that to my mother.
Yeah.
But we're not gonna tell you that because there's something still we want from you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, but if y'all dress in a nice fitted dress and black dress and nice heels and you seeing your shape, you can show the not enough skin. I like, even if you could show like cleavage.
Yeah.
But I don't want to see the full shape of your breasts. You know what I'm saying? It's like leave something to your imagination. Can I just have something that I seen and none of these other guys see?
Right.
Like, that's just fill my ego with respect. You know what I'm saying? So she articulated in the perfect manner, and it's not like trying to tell you can wear whatever you want to wear. Just like, I don't have to deal with what I don't have to deal with. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's all about. Yes, we men are territorial. It's not insecurity. We're just territorial.
Yeah.
We want to be able to be like, if it makes us feel good that I know that's mine.
Yeah. Yep.
And I see that what I see you all didn't see.
Right. 100%.
You know what I'm saying? And that makes me feel good. And because I have something that nobody has had or nobody have seen and everything like that, I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna do that right. But if everybody's seen it, and everybody can see it and whatever, why should I do it right? What's my reward? You know what I'm saying?
You just don't want it at that point.
You just don't want. You don't. You like. I'll have fun with it. It's cool until I find that person that really respects how I think and how I feel. Like, I've been that sucker where I tolerated it, even though it bothered me, because I want to respect her feelings, even though she wasn't respecting mine.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I
So
do.
it's. I like when Felicia Rashad said that, she's like, it's crazy. Like, and during that interview, they showed a picture because Charlamagne God says, remember that picture where you was just wearing a basketball jersey? You look so beautiful. And they brought it up And she did. I'm like, damn. She wasn't showing no skin, nothing. I was like, yo, Felicia Fly was beautiful.
Yeah, she was.
She still is beautiful,
Yeah.
but like at her younger, she was beautiful, and she wasn't even in no skimpy outfit. It was just classy individual. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's the kind of person you want by your side to represent you and to represent herself. You know,
She gets that from her family. If you ever looked at the interview,
Debbie Allen's her
yeah,
sister.
and they had a lot of European um, upbringing. Yeah, you know, especially dance and so on. So started at a young age with that family.
Yeah.
Hey, what do you think about the Medina memoirs, man? What if Sean Medina had something?
Oh man, we were joking about that the other day, today, yo. Yeah.
Medina memoirs,
Yeah.
right?
You know, I gotta get him on this show because that man he's a very smart individual,
There is.
and his perspective on a lot of things. You know, love you too, cuz his perspective on a lot of things. Him and I go back and forth. He likes to argue just like I do.
Sabrina's your cousin?
Yeah. Yep.
We're related somewhere down the line.
Oh, okay. All right.
We gotta talk about that.
But all right. So let's end this right here.
Is this the end? I gotta know. I gotta know. I gotta know. Is this the end?
Yes, it's the end of another episode of the Frequency Live on WMB1 Radio. Final thoughts going on right here. What do you think, guys? So, how was the show? Yo, what's your final thoughts?
Hey, I like being here. I really enjoy it. I like what Steph said in the comment section. That kind of hit home with me, like she was reading my mind. So shout out to Steph in the comment. Great topics as always, and let's keep it up, and hopefully our views are over 1,000. That would be nice. And I'm gonna find out more what Brian was talking about. B Mags was talking about with the clips, so we can kind of get things out there.
Yep, promote it more.
I found out that it's something you can use on Instagram and really get us out there with a lot of views. So if we can create some clips from all these things, I think we're gonna go even further. So good job, fellas.
Yeah, always good conversation. Some of these topics aren't going anywhere,
Yeah.
right? This things through life or whatever. So we'll hit it again here and there.
Yeah. Yeah, like this show's all about having conversations and just talking to each other again. We don't always have to agree, you know, and I want to hear from everybody's perspective. For me individually, this is how I learn, through conversations, you know, just getting different outlooks so we can get, because we're all going to the same goal. So, you know, this was this show's about, you know, leading into vibrational experiences.
Can I add one thing?
Yeah.
Okay, because we had some comments about like talking about race and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, we as a panel, I don't think we like go out of our way to talk about race. Just it so happens that the stuff in society that we talk about, and again, maybe a lot of it's because of Trump or the perception or the stuff that we see in social media or the media throws out there. Race comes up, like, it, you know, is he being racist, sending these, you know, so stuff like that. That's why race comes up. We're not going out of our way to like talk about racism. You know what I'm saying? So,
but it's out there, and to eliminate it, you must talk about it.
Right.
You got to talk about it. And a lot of people, you think that you're going to ignore it, and it's going to go away. It's not going to go away. When you ignore it, you're actually fueling it because you're not trying to implement change. So you got to have these conversations. And again, like I said in the beginning of the show, you're going to have these arguments, these debates, and that's healthy. You know, like I said, if Martin Luther King didn't want to argue or not talk about race, we're not here sitting together and having these conversations about race. You know what I'm saying? So it can get a little bit uncomfortable, yes. But if y'all, what's that old saying? If being your comfort zone is good, but nothing ever grows there.
Yeah.
You got to have these uncomfortable conversations for you to grow. That's why I did a post a while back where if you stay in your culture, you're never gonna grow. Sometimes you got to be out. Sometimes your comfort zone in your culture is your detriment.
It's the hindrance, yeah.
Because you're not understanding other people's culture for you to grow as an individual. Now you're just stuck in this bubble. You know what I'm saying? Where I'm just gonna just be with white people or black people or just Latin people or just Cape Verdean people. You know what I'm saying? Or just stay in your Portuguese. And that's where they separate us. For us to come together, experience other cultures, different environments. You know what I'm saying? Like Derek, y'all doing a great job. Like all weekend you was hanging with us in more of y'all, not y'all normal environment. You know what I'm saying? And that's good, Joe. That's real. It is good.
See, I find to me, I find it. I mean, maybe, but I do find it my environment. Like my environment to me is everyone. That's just how I look at things.
But because you putting yourself in that position so you can feel that way. And it is your environment. It's not your environment. Like I'm going there because you belong there just as much as everybody else belong there. You know what I'm saying? And that's where like black people got to get in.
But I'll go there for one person, say, right?
Yeah.
Like you or Decon or whatever. But sometimes I'll
come in and mention my name.
Well, I got to see you there. But I wonder sometimes, like, does the people there, like, am I welcome there?
Yeah.
Through their eyes.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
But then they see you that they watch you on this show. Oh yeah, I remember. I know you. This and okay, this and that. And it's like it's like yeah. All right. You know what I'm saying? So it's you're just putting yourself in a uncomfortable situation to be comfortable. And the same thing with this conversation. Yes, can the conversation be uncomfortable at first, but then you get comfortable talking about it and you start learning about it, and then you just go through life in a totally different type of mindset that is good for society versus everybody going their little corners. I don't like that.
Completely agree.
Listen, don't be listening to Berto. Just call in 774-425-2631 and change up the conversation.
Yeah. So next week, call in. We want people to call in. I appreciate the people that's been commenting and saying their piece, but don't be afraid to call in. We're gonna start having guests, prominent guests that we got lined up that's in the community that are open to come on the show and be interviewed and really understand what made New Bedford. So I'm looking forward to that. So we'll see you next week. Thanks to all our listeners and watching us, and we'll be back next week. Have a good night.
Thank you,
y'all.
Good night. All right, so let me just end the stream there.